You can get more gifts, subs, follows, likes, and shares by using TikFinity, which is easily the best live streaming alerts platform for TikTok Live. This guide is for PC and Mac, but the first two sections of this video will also work for your phone. We're going to look at how to use text-to-speech to read out loud chat messages, how to trigger sounds when you get gifts, and fully customizable alerts for subs, follows, gifts, likes, and more. And we'll start with quick setup. If you're on Windows, then download the desktop app, which is linked in the description. If you're on Mac or a phone, then just use the TikFinity website that's also linked in the description. And you'll be prompted to log in on the setup page. And then all you have to do is type in your TikTok username. Desktop app users should also click on TikTok login on the left and just make sure you log in to TikTok. The connect button only works when you're live, but don't worry, you don't need to be live to set up TikFinity. If you're using the website, you'll have to press this connect button, which is also on the start page or in the top left corner. If you're using the desktop app, it will automatically connect you when you go live. Let's start on the sound alerts page. This page works for both phone and computer streamers. You can use this page to trigger sounds when an event happens in your live stream. That includes an event such as people sending a specific gift or even a subscriber-only emote. So let me show you how I've set up both of these ones on screen now. The first one is an emote which plays a frog sound. The second one is when they send the rose gift, it plays an anime wow sound. So firstly, just check these settings at the bottom of the page. These are my recommended settings. Check both the boxes and 5000 queue length. And then the sound alerts page is really simple. Just press create sound alert, select what they call a trigger. So my first trigger is one of my sub only emotes. So it's the frog one for me. And if I create a second sound alert, this is a rose. I can either type it in or find it on the drop down list. I'll type it in. Then we just have to select a sound for both of them. If you have your own sound, you can click the upload sound button. But TikFinity has access to the popular My Instant Sound Library. It contains thousands of well-used internet sounds. So we're assigning the anime wow sound here. I'm just going to press apply, but you can press play to hear it. And for the frog one, I'm just going to type frog and it gives me a whole host of different sounds. I'll choose this one and I'll apply it. Finally, let's quickly test it to hear what one of them sounds like. All you have to do is press the play icon. So let's do that. Next up is the text-to-speech chat page. This can read out loud any message that your viewers can send, and once again, it works for both phone and computer streamers. So if you want to use this page, firstly, obviously make sure you check the enabled box. And then let's review some of the most important settings, obviously starting with language and voice. If we look at the voice drop-down, there is a whole host of interesting voices. I'm going to go with the popular Ghostface voice. You can also just randomize them as well. I'll leave the speed and the pitch as it is, and we'll also test this in a second. But firstly, under allowed users, if you're going to allow all people to use it, then unfortunately there's a lot of immature people on TikTok Live and they're probably going to abuse it. So I don't suggest you set it to all users. Do that at your own risk. Personally, I suggest you let your most loyal supporters use the text-to-speech chat. So that's generally the people giving you money. That's the subscribers, as well as your moderators, and of course your team members and top gifters. And for both team members and top gifters, you can click this cog to configure what level of team member is allowed to use the text-to-speech, and you can configure how many top gifters can use it. And then underneath comment types, I've got it so that the viewer has to type !TTS followed by their message. I think more commonly these days, a lot of people use this dot or the slash one, or they can just make it read out every single comment from these allowed users. Most people don't charge channel points, and we'll cover channel points more in depth later. If you've ticked allowed users from list, this is where you type them underneath the special users section. And then if I scroll down a bit before we test it, look under spam protection. These are my recommended settings. So the max queue length is set on 20 so that it doesn't read ancient messages. And underneath advanced, I've also changed it. So instead of just saying comment, it's bracket username says bracket comment. And this just allows me, the streamer, to work out who is actually sending the text-to-speech chat message. So finally, we can test it to hear what it sounds like. So let's do that.
Testaser says this is a test.
That sounds fantastic to me. For this to work, all you have to do is leave the website or the desktop app open in the background. One final note though, if you are just using the website, web browsers like Chrome require that you interact with the web page to enable the sound. So after you've clicked the connect button on either the setup or the start page, just click into a random other page, such as the TTS chat page, and that should ensure that sound is enabled. Once again, that's not required for the desktop app. Let's quickly talk about TikFinity Pro. My affiliate link is in the description. If you click that and create a new account, you'll get TikFinity Pro for $15 a month instead of $19. In regards to whether you purchase TikFinity Pro, I think it's pretty simple. If you're making more than about $15 a month on TikTok Live from gifts, then I think it's worth it because it will pay for itself. If not, then just stick with the free version of TikFinity. Almost everything we do in this video, you can do with the free version. So once again, if you create a new account using my affiliate link in the description, that will reduce the future price of TikFinity Pro. Alright, so let's move on to the actions and events page, and this is for computer streamers only. And this is extremely customizable, so we're going to look at a lot of different examples. But what all of these examples have in common is if you click on overlay screen settings, we will be adding a URL to either Live Studio, OBS, or Streamlabs. So here's how to add a screen URL, and I'll show both Live Studio and OBS. Firstly, I recommend maximum queue length of 1000, and then most of us are just going to use screen 1. So all I'm going to do is click on the URL to copy it. And firstly, let's look at Live Studio. I'm going to click on add source on the left hand side. I'm going to click on link. If you're using compatibility mode, I'm going to sync it to the landscape scene and press add. I'm going to press Ctrl V on my keyboard, and I'm going to go custom resolution, and for this one I'll go 600 by 400. But TikFinity action and event sizes can change dramatically, so you'll just have to play around with the custom resolution to get it looking the way you want. Make sure you turn on the sound. We don't need a preview for now. We'll press add source. Before we do anything else, on the left hand side, I'm going to right click rename, and I've now done it in both places. I've renamed both portrait and landscape to TikFinity Screen 1. Next up, I'm going to click on them, and you can now just drag them around to resize it and drag the corners to make it bigger or smaller, and you can hold the Alt button and drag these squares if you need to crop it. If you're using OBS and Streamlabs, it's a very similar process. Under these sources, click the plus button, click on browser. I've named mine TikFinity Screen 1. I've pressed OK. I'm going to Ctrl V to replace the URL. Once again, I'm going to make it 600 by 400, but it will be variable, so you might have to play around with it. I'm going to shut down source when not visible and press OK. And I can click on the source and drag it around to move it. I can once again drag the squares to resize, and I can hold Alt and drag the squares to crop. So that might not be making much sense yet, so let's make sense of it now. The actions and events page lets you trigger actions based on anything on the screen here. That includes gifts, subs, follows, and likes. So let's set some examples up. Let's start with some predefined alerts. If you want to set it up super quickly for alerts for follows, gifts, subs, and likes. And to do that, you'll either get a pop-up when you click into the actions and events page, or you'll have this highlight here which says be creative and create your own alerts, or click here to import predefined alerts. So I've clicked it, and just like that, you can see in the background we've got 4 actions and 4 events. And you should have already done this, but it's telling you to add the URL as a link source. Go back and watch the section where we've already done that. I'll press OK on the message. And if you really wanted, you could just go live right now, and you've got alerts on screen for subs, 100 likes, 1+ coins, and a follow. So how do you see what they look like? You can either press the play icon on the left, or you can scroll down to the bottom of the page and press one of the simulate buttons. Let's simulate a follow and open Live Studio, and you can see this is what it looks like. You can also customize them by pressing the pencil edit icon, but personally I don't recommend the predefined alerts. I think it's better to learn how to set it up from scratch yourself, so let's do that now. So if you've already set up the predefined alerts but you want to learn how to set it up yourself, you just got to press the trash icon against all of the events and actions. First up, let's set up a basic follow alert which just puts their profile picture, username, and a short message on the screen for every new follower. And once again, start by making sure you have the URL added to Live Studio or OBS. Go back to the section of the video where I did that, and then you're going to create yourself a new action. So here is my new action. I've named it New Follower. I've chosen an animation which goes in the background. You can use general animations or gift animations. I've chosen the well done one. And by default, it is showing their profile picture and username. So I've just typed a nice message such as thanks for following. Then into the color box, I've chosen the correct color. I've gone with yellow. And in the global overlay settings, you can configure what the font looks like. You can also configure at the bottom whether you show the profile picture or put the username and the message on one line. I've not gone with that. I'll press OK. I'll scroll down and we'll configure the duration. I'll actually lower mine to 4 seconds. All of these other default options look great. If you want it to appear slightly faster on the screen, then uncheck the fade in or out. And we'll save this action, and we need to create a new event now. So here's what the event looks like. Everyone can trigger the event. By what will the event be triggered? It's triggered by a follow. And to trigger all of these actions, I've chosen the new follower action. We don't need to do anything in this random section and just press save. And finally, we can test this, simulate follow at the bottom of the page. Live Studio's a bit slow, but there we go. It is now working. Next up, let's set up an alert for every new gift that we receive. And we'll also set it to play a sound as well. So once again, make sure you have the screen added. You can go back to the section of that video where I did that. And then we create a new action. I've named my new action New Gift. First of all, I've checked Show Animation. And this time I've gone into the gift animation section and I've chosen the level rain one. You choose what you want. I've also checked the play audio box, and after that you have two options. If you have your own audio file, just press select file. But what I did, I clicked open sound library, and there is some suggested sounds. You could search for your own, but I just went with the Riz Sounds one. You can press play, hear what it sounds like, then just press apply once you're happy. And then I also checked the show alert box. Once again, it shows their profile picture and the username. And I've typed in thanks for brackets repeat count brackets gift name. You can copy it from down here as well, just Control C, Control V. So for example, if I said 10 roses, it would say, Harry, thanks for 10 roses. I've also configured it to be red, and you can configure what the colors look like and the font here. And if I scroll down the page a bit, I don't want it to be 20 seconds. I'll set mine to 6 seconds, a bit longer than the follow one because they are sending money. You do not want repeat with gift combos for this one. The other settings are fine, so we'll press save. And now we need to make a matching event for this. So click create new event and let's look at the event that I've made. Everyone's able to trigger this one. It is sending a gift with minimum coins value. So if you want this to trigger for every single gift, you set this to 1. But for example, if you don't want people spamming roses, you could raise it. So for example, I could raise it to 99. And it wouldn't trigger for gifts valued below 99 coins. Once you're happy with those settings, make sure the new gift action is assigned. You don't need to do anything with the random box and press save. And you can scroll down to the bottom of the page. Underneath the event simulator, you can either type in a gift name or choose it from the list. I'll turn my sound on and let's simulate the woolly hat. It should make a sound and it should be visible in Live Studio. And there we go, that has worked successfully. Next up, let's play a video after we receive a specific gift. In this example, TikTok Universe plays the Ronaldo Sui video. So once again, make sure you have screen one added. Go back to the relevant part of the video where we added that. Then we need to create a new action. I've named my action new and then followed by the gift name. So in our example, I've named it New TikTok Universe. And then I'm going to play a video file. So there's no pre-selected video files. You have to get your own video file. So I've pressed select file and I've uploaded it. And you don't have to, but as you saw, I put some text on top of the video file, which just said, thanks for graphics gift name. I've also configured a color, and you can configure all of the font settings here as well. If we scroll down the page a bit, make sure the duration is at least the length of the video, and then scroll down even further. And here you might want to repeat with gift combos. So in my example, if I was lucky enough, if somebody was crazy enough to send me, for example, 3 TikTok universes, if I repeat with gift combos, it will play the video 3 times. If I don't, then it would only play the video 1 time, even though they sent 3 universes. So I'm going to repeat with gift combos and press save, and then we're going to create a new event. Let me show you what the event looks like. Everyone can trigger it. It is sending a specific gift, and then you just type in the name of the gift or you search for it and assign the correct action. You don't need to do anything on the last one and press save. And then if we scroll to the bottom of the page, we can use the event simulator. You can either type it in or choose it from the list. I'll turn my sound on so we can hear it. If I simulate gift, you can now hear that it's working. Next up, let's add a new subscriber alert. This one's going to play text to speech. Let's hear what it sounds like. I'll simulate
Test
it.
user, thanks for the 1-month sub.
So we've got the TTS, and also we've got a nice little animation in the background as well as the text. So firstly, on the actions events page, make sure screen one is added. Go back to the relevant part of the video where we did that, and then click create new action. And here's what my new sub action looks like. Firstly, I picked a background animation. On this one, I chose the Corvette gift animation. And then scroll down to show alert. And in the box, I've typed thanks for the brackets sub month sub. You can copy sub month to make sure you type it correctly. So as you saw, for example, thanks for the 2-month sub. And the new thing we've done on this is I've checked the read text to speech box. And into this box, I've basically copied this message which says thanks for the sub-month sub. And at the start, I've added brackets username. Once again, you can copy it from down here. And then I've picked a voice. I've picked the Ghostface voice. When I simulated it, it was actually bugged, but when you're live, it will show the correct voice. It actually showed a female voice, as you probably remember. You can also test it by pressing the test button. It will play the correct voice there. So for example, Ghostface will say, Harry, thanks for the 2-month sub. And then we scroll down. I've set the duration to 10 seconds. These other settings look great, and I'll press save. Now you need to create a new event for it. Let's look at what the event looks like. Everyone can trigger it. It is triggered by the subscribe, and I've added the new sub action, left the bottom on blank, and pressed save. And once again, as I showed, you can simulate the sub at the bottom. I've actually got the sound muted. It is playing the sound as well. The sound is bugged again. It's playing the wrong sound, but when you're live, it will play the correct voice. Next up, let's do a basic like alert. Let's see what it looks like. We're just going to put some text on the screen and a little background whenever they send 100 likes. So how do I do that? Firstly, make sure screen 1 is added. Go back to the relevant part of the video where we added that, then create a new action. Let's look at what the action looks like. Firstly, I've named it 100 likes. And underneath show animation, choose the animation. And I've personally gone with the like storm gift animation. The only other box we've checked here is show alert user and text. So it shows the username and the profile picture. Then I've just typed thanks for 100 likes. I've chosen a color. You can configure any of the other font settings if you want. And just scroll down the page. Because it's only likes and a lot of them happen, I've set it to only appear for 3 seconds. All of these other settings look great, so I'll press save. And underneath events, you just create yourself a new event, and let's look at what my event looks like. Everyone can trigger it. It is sending likes, brackets, taps, and define a minimum like amount. I've set it to 100, and I've assigned the 100 likes action. I've left the bottom section blank, and I'll press save. Now I've only got it to 3 seconds, but I can spam tap simulate 15 likes and then quickly switch over, and we can just about see it. Alternatively, you can also test it by pressing the play icon next to the action. Alright, next up, it is possible to trigger any Minecraft command inside your Minecraft Java using TikFinity. Let me show you a quick example. If I switch into the game, it says thanks for the 1 rose, and as you can see, it has spawned a creeper. I have a standalone video guide showing how to set up TikFinity for Minecraft Java. Again, you can trigger any Minecraft Java command when you get gifts, follows, subs, likes, shares, etc. I'll put that link in the description. You can trigger TikFinity actions based on your subscribers sending specific emotes. So in my example, I'm about to set it up so it plays the KEKW audio when they send my KEKW subscriber emote. So once again, if you haven't done it already, add screen 1 to Live Studio or OBS, go back to the relevant part of the video, and then create yourself a new action. Here is my action. It's really simple on this one. I've typed new and then the name of the emote. And you could do any of these things. I'm just going to play audio. I opened the sound library and I searched for the relevant sound. You can press play to hear it. I just pressed apply. And then really, I don't need any other changes. Make sure the display duration is at least the length of the sound. And I have pressed save. And then I need to make a new event. So here is my new event. Technically, I've set it so everybody can trigger it. But in reality, only the subs can trigger it because only the subs can send the emotes. I've checked sending a subscriber emote. I've chosen it from the list. I've chosen the correct action. I don't need to randomize it, and I press save. And you can't simulate it at the bottom. So let me turn my sound on and we'll just simulate it up here. And I don't have anything showing on the screen. All I've done is played the sound. But I'm talking over it, but you can hear it. Now, what if you want to separate your alerts? So in this example, I've got the follower alert on one part of the screen, and I've got the gift alert on another part of the screen. Well, how have I done that? I've done that by assigning them to different screens. If you remember at the start, we assigned everything to screen 1, and what that did is put everything in a queue. So, for example, if you have everything on screen 1, if you get both a gift and a follower at the same time, it will play one of the actions first, and then the other one will be in a queue, and that will play second after that action's finished. If you want them playing at the same time, what you have to do is add another screen to Live Studio or OBS. So just click the link for screen 2 or any other screen and head into Live Studio or OBS and add it as a link source or a browser source. So go back to the relevant section of the video where we added sources. Make sure you right click rename so it's got a good name. And then inside TikFinity, head up to your actions, click on the drop down and assign what you want to separate onto screen 2. So if I now press the play icon next to both of these and I head back into Live Studio, you can see they are now separated. If I put new follower back onto screen 1, and I've lowered both of the durations to 4 seconds just so we can test it. If I scroll back to the bottom of the page, if I click simulate follow and simulate gift and go back to Live Studio, you can see firstly the follow has appeared, followed by the gift, and that's because they were on the same screen. If you're looking for free weekly advice to monetize and grow your TikTok live stream and grow as a content creator, then check out the free Live Success newsletter, which I send every week. It's linked in the description. All right, so for the rest of this guide, we will be adding URLs to Live Studio and OBS. So here's how you will do it. On the relevant section, you'll click copy URL. You'll head into OBS or Live Studio. You'll press add source and choose the link option. If you're using compatibility mode, sync it to the landscape scene. Press add, Control V to place it into your box. Customize the resolution to whatever you want and press add source. Then on the left hand side, make sure you just rename it. For example, this one was the chat overlay, and I've now renamed it in both places. And then you would just click on it to drag it around and resize it. Anyway, that's not going to make much sense to you until we look at some examples. So let's start on the goal overlays page. So you can add a nice gold bar that fills up as your viewers head towards the target. You can add likes, shares, follows, view counts, coins earned, channel points earned, new subscribers, and we'll look at custom goals later. For now, let's set a like goal for 1,000 likes. I've just named it to like goal and I've set it to double every time. So it goes 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, etc. But you could also change the option to increase that, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. You can set it to disappear when you hit the goal or keep the goal unchanged. And you can also customize the appearance. You can see I've customized mine to be red and black. You now need to add the URL to Live Studio or OBS. Go back to the section where I showed how to add URLs. You can see on the left, I've got mine added as TikFinity like goal, and it is very important with this one that you make sure you configure the width and the height correctly. For example, if I raise this width to 1000, you can see it now gets very stretched. So right click settings and configure the custom resolution to the correct width. Personally, I like a width of 600. You could also set it so that it plays an action when you hit the like goal or any other goal. If you want to do that, action on reaching, click the select option and click create new action. I've just named mine like sound, so we're going to play a sound. I'll click play audio, open sound library. I'll just pick a random fart sound, and then we just scroll to the bottom. You can set the display duration to the length of the sound and press save. This will only work though if you add the screen from the actions and events page as a link source or a browser source. So usually you'll be adding screen 1. It will say the screen number at the top next to your action. So all of these other goals can be configured in a very similar way to the like goal that I just showed, except for the custom goals at the bottom. Let's set up 2 custom goals. The first one is a bar that fills up when people send roses. So in my example here, they've already sent 14 out of 100 roses. The second one is a bar that fills up when people simply type chat messages in your chat. This is going to encourage interactions, and the algorithm loves when people are typing in your chat. So this can get fairly complex. We'll start on the goal overlays page in the custom goal 1 section. And we'll start with the 100 roses goal. I've obviously set the goal to 100. The title is this one here, which tells the viewer what the goal is. And for now, I'm going to keep the goal unchanged. You might just want to manually alter it when you hit the goal. And of course, you can customize the way it looks and make sure you copy the URL and add it into Live Studio or OBS. And make sure you are renaming your link source. And once again, because it's a goal, I recommend 600 and 150 as your width and height, but you set it the way you want it. But unfortunately, we're not done yet. This is a bit more complicated. We now have to head to the actions and events page. So firstly, we are creating a new action, and this is a custom rows goal action. On this page, all we have to check is control custom goal. Our 100 rows goal is custom goal 1. We're increasing the progress by 1. Crucially, we are repeating with gift combos. The other default options are fine. I've also set it to a 1 second display duration. I'm not sure that's relevant. We'll press save. And now we need to create a new event. So here's my new event. Everyone can trigger it. It is sending a specific gift. The specific gift is rose and the action is the custom rose goal. We'll press save on that. And then at the bottom of the page, underneath the event simulator, I've chosen the rose. If I spam it, I'll spam it about 10 times. We can go back into Live Studio and you can see it has increased about 10 times. If you want something to happen when that goal is hit, if we head back to custom goal 1, you'll have to select an action, create yourself a new action, and then add screen 1 to Live Studio or OBS. Once again, go back to the relevant section of the video where I showed adding screen 1. Anyway, let's move on to our chat messages goal, and it's a very similar setup. I've set it to a goal of 20 chat messages. I've typed the chat messages title so the viewers will see this and know what their target is. And I've set this to increase, so this will go 20, 40, 60, 80, etc. And once again, I'm doing this one because I know the algorithm loves people chatting. You can customize it however you want. Make sure you copy the URL and add it to Live Studio. Go back to the relevant section where I showed how to add URLs. Again, I recommend 600 as the width. And then once again, we need an action and a new event for this. So on the actions and events page, create yourself a new action. I've named mine custom chat message goal, and on this page, all you need to do is assign the relevant custom goal. For me, that is custom goal 2. Increase the progress by 1 second display duration, and all the other defaults are fine. We don't need repeat with gift combos on this one, and press save. And then scroll down, create yourself a new event. Everyone can trigger it. Chat any comment is the trigger. We've assigned the custom chat message goal action in this section, and we don't need anything randomized, so we'll press save. And we can't simulate this properly, but if we go back to the goal overlays page, custom goal 2, we can press the test button and we'll see the bar filling up and then going back down. Next up, a really simple one. Let's just put the name of the last gifter on the screen, or the last anything such as follower, liker, or sharer. So we head to the last X overlays section of TikFinity. Against the relevant one, we click the customize button. So we're putting last gifter, so I press customize. And I can change all these settings the way I want them. And then we just press copy URL and we add it as a link source to Live Studio or a browser source to OBS. Make sure you rename it. I've renamed mine to Last Gifter. And you can press the test button inside TikFinity to see what it looks like. Also, at the bottom of this page is 2 different settings. So for example, for the last follower one, if people are rapidly following or liking for that matter, then you might want to lower the refresh interval to something very low, as well as the lowest fade duration. Next up, let's put our top gifters on the screen. To do that, head to the overlay gallery and click into the top gifters section. And you can start by clicking the customize button to customize the way the top gifter page looks. Once you're happy, press OK, copy the URL and add it as a link source to Live Studio or a browser source to OBS. Make sure you right click, rename it like I've done. And if you go into the settings of it, the height is what dictates how many top gifters are going to show. So obviously, if you want fewer top gifters to show, you might want to lower the height. And of course, there is a test button. You can click it to see what it looks like and then make the relevant adjustments. Let's move on to the Emojify page. This is also at the top of the overlay gallery. It's for TikFinity Pro members only. If I click the test button, we can see what it does. Basically, anytime an emote, whether that's a subscriber emote or just a regular emoji, is typed into your chat, you can make them pop up on screen. Again, just a fun little way to encourage people to type in your chat, and the algorithm loves that. So once again, just add the relevant URL to Live Studio or OBS. If you're crazy like me and you want it full screen, set it to 1920 by 1080 or 1080 by 1920, depending on whether it's landscape or vertical. Although unfortunately, if you are using compatibility mode, you have to pick one and you can't have them both. So as you can see, I've got mine set to portrait. And again, I can just press the test button and go back into OBS or Live Studio to see what it looks like. Let's now look at channel points. We'll look at some methods to assign them. I'll show how the viewers can see their channel points, and we'll look at how they can spend them as well. So starting with how to assign channel points, you can do this in a few places. We start on the setup page in the points system section. And on this section, we can assign points per coin, share, and chat minute. You can also give your channel points a name. For example, Savage Mike calls his Savage Bucks. Everybody's different, but for example, sometimes people uncheck these, so just the people sending you money are getting channel points. That, however, is just one way to assign channel points. Here's another. If we head to the actions and events page, You might have noticed on every single action, if I scroll down a little bit, it says, should the trigger user receive a reward or must they pay for it? So the action I've edited here is 100 likes. So for example, I could press add points and I could give them 0.1 channel points for every 100 likes. You can go back in the video to see the sections where we set up actions and events for likes, subs, follows, and gifts. And then if you wanted to assign channel points, you would just edit the relevant action. I'll come back to the actions and events page in a second because they can also spend the points. But first, how can the viewers see how many channel points they have? Well, there's a few ways to do this. Firstly, if I go into the overlay gallery, if I click on user info screen, if I click the test button, you can see that if you add this URL as a link source to Live Studio or a browser source to OBS, the viewers can type this !points command and this will pop up showing their points. It is of course fully customizable with the customize button, and if you click onto this chat commands page, you can actually change it from !points to whatever you want. However, staying on this overlay gallery, if I click onto ranking list, you can see that I can add this list onto my screen by copying the URL and adding it as a link source to Live Studio or a browser source to OBS. And it's pretty obvious, it's showing the viewers who gained the most points. Now there's one more way the viewers can see their channel points. If I click onto chatbot, you need the desktop app for this, only on Windows. You would check the enable chatbot box here, and then as you can see there is a load of different chat commands related to channel points. Unfortunately though, this uses your account to type in the chat and TikTok rate limits it, so usually you can only type usually 2 or 3 messages per minute. Let's look at some ways your viewers can spend channel points. Firstly, the most popular one is on the text-to-speech chat page. You can charge points for text-to-speech chat messages. And then firstly, if you're going to do this, what I suggest is you toggle on followers or even all users. But I recommend you leave it on followers and then change this to yes. And then you can charge an appropriate amount of channel points for them to use the text-to-speech. This is a great way for viewers who can't afford to give you donations or subs. For example, you could give them points for liking and then they can spend them on TTS. As I mentioned earlier though, you can also spend the points on the actions and events page. So here is an example I've set up. If I create a new action, I've made !Rick. I've just made it play audio. And of course, in my example, it's playing the Rick roll sound. And then if we scroll down the page, make sure the display duration is the length of the audio. But crucially, we are removing points. I'm removing 10 points whenever they do this. I've saved the other options, but you're probably wondering how did they do it. If you make a new event, I've chosen the commenting a command option and the viewer has to type !Rick into the chat. I've left it as the other defaults. I've just selected the action here and I've saved it. And now the viewers can type !Rick. If they have less than 5 points, it's not going to trigger. If they do have 5 points, it's going to play the sound and they're also going to lose 5 points. But of course, it's only going to play the sound if you've got Screen 1 added to Live Studio as a link source or OBS as a browser source. Now there is also regarding channel points some lesser used features at the bottom, the Wheel of Fortune, the points drop, the challenge and the halving. You can look through those if you like, but by far the most popular uses is the TTS chat and the actions and events page for spending channel points. As a final note regarding channel points, let's click onto the setup page and then let's click on reset points. So some people like to reset their points database every week or month. So you can click erase all points and levels to completely wipe it, or you can do it based on criteria. Also, if you just want to see your full list of people who have points, then go on the users and points page. If you just click the drop down and filter it by points, you can get a complete list of everybody who has channel points. And moving on, we have the Subathon page. Basically, if we look at the bottom of the page here, you can configure it so that when any of these events happen, it can increase a timer. So basically, the more interactions you get, the longer you have to stream. I'll put my full Subathon guide in the description. Now, we've been using Live Studio for most of this guide. If you want a stream key and you want to use OBS, Streamlabs, or any other streaming software, then you can watch this video here to learn how to get a stream key for free.